Welcome to the deep dive. Look, if you're involved in PR, brand strategy, or even just corporate comms, you know the ground is shifting fast. We've gathered a whole stack of research looking ahead to 2025, and our mission today is simple. Give you that strategic shortcut. What are the absolute must-know digital trends you need to master? Because, let's be honest, the old ways, the standard press release, the slow media pitch, they're fading. Maybe even broken.
They really are. We're seeing this huge pivot towards, well, AI-driven strategies, immediate crisis management, and this incredibly deep level of personalized interaction.
So it's not just about getting ink anymore.
No, not at all. It's fundamentally about building and, crucially, defending your reputation in a world that's just always on, always connected.
And that connection creates a real challenge, doesn't it?
It really does. That's the core tension we kept seeing in all the data. Success in, say, 2025 hinges on striking this balance. On one hand, you absolutely need the tech, advanced platforms, sharp data analysis. But on the other hand, you can't lose the human element, that authentic connection, the compelling story.
Tech and humanity, not either.
Exactly. They're completely inseparable tools now. You need both.
Okay, let's dig into the tech side first then. AI and machine learning. It feels like we're past the "is this real" stage.
Oh, definitely. It's not experimental anymore. It's practical. It's daily.
I think people get the idea of AI helping write stuff, maybe. But what about the predictive side? What does AI-driven predictive PR actually look like in practice?
It's about getting ahead of the curve and, honestly, cutting down on wasted effort. Think about it. AI can power these incredibly sophisticated media intelligence platforms. They scan thousands, maybe millions of sources, news, social media, blogs, forums in seconds. They spot emerging narratives before they even trend.
Okay, so early warnings.
Yes, but it's more than that. For campaign planning, this is where it gets really interesting. Machine learning looks at past campaigns, historical data, journalist behavior, and it starts to forecast which stories are likely to resonate with which specific journalist or audience segment. It helps figure out the best timing, predicts pickup rates.
So it replaces gut feeling with actual data.
Pretty much, or at least massively supplements it.
Yeah.
It reduces the risk of a campaign just flopping because you launched it into a saturated news cycle or targeted the wrong people.
Right.
It predicts that before you spend the budget.
And you mentioned content generation, too. Tools like ChatGPT, Jasper. They're becoming standard issue.
For drafting initial press releases, churning out social media copy variations, testing headlines based on predicted engagement, it handles the grunt work.
But doesn't that risk every brand sounding the same, sort of robotic, if everyone's using the same AI assistant?
That's the critical point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where the human oversight is non-negotiable. AI is the assistant. It does the heavy lifting, the volume. It can draft 10 headlines fast.
Yeah.
But you bring the brand voice, the cultural nuance, the emotional intelligence to refine that output. You have to inject the personality back in. It doesn't replace creativity. It's supposed to free it up.
Which leads us straight into speed. If AI is monitoring and creating content constantly, that window to respond to a brand threat, it's shrunk, hasn't it?
Dramatically. We're not talking hours anymore. We're talking minutes.
Minutes. That sounds intense, almost impossible.
It is intense, but it's becoming the expected standard, the cost of doing business in this environment. Reputation fires spread incredibly fast online. You need systems, often AI-powered monitoring tools, scanning millions of conversations, picking up on negative sentiment spikes, predicting if something's about to escalate.
So you can jump on it early.
Exactly. Catch misinformation, adjust a complaint, counter a false narrative while it's still relatively small before it goes viral or hits mainstream media.
But responding in minutes, how do you ensure the response is right, accurate, approved? That seems like a huge operational bottleneck.
Yeah.
Rushing often leads to mistakes.
It's a major hurdle, yeah. You absolutely need rigorous pre-planning, pre-written, pre-approved response templates for common issues. Ready to go. You need designated spokespeople who are trained for this kind of rapid-fire response. And clear escalation paths that bypass the usual red tape when something big hits.
Like the airline examples you mentioned earlier.
Exactly like that. Major airlines are often cited as leaders here. They have dedicated social teams tackling individual complaints on Twitter almost instantly. They don't wait for a formal statement. They turn a potential PR disaster into a customer service win, one tweet at a time. It takes structure and empowerment.
Okay, so speed is crucial. Tech enables it. But does all this speed and automation make it harder to build actual trust? Which surely is the ultimate goal.
It makes trust more critical and probably harder to earn, yeah. Which brings us neatly to the next big trend, This idea of radical honesty and transparency.
Radical honesty. What does that mean in practice?
It means stakeholders, customers, employees, they're savvy now. They don't just take your polished corporate spiel at face value. They dig deeper. They look up your company values, your track record, what people are saying about you. So transparency isn't just about putting out a glossy CSR report. It's about being open, even when things are difficult, maybe especially then.
You mentioned Patagonia earlier.
Yeah, they're a classic example. They build immense credibility, not just by talking about their environmental wins, but by being upfront about the ongoing struggles, the challenges in their supply chain, the complexities of sustainable manufacturing.
Yeah.
That vulnerability, it builds way more trust than pretending to be perfect.
So when mistakes happen, apologies need to be more than just words.
Absolutely. Vague, we regret the inconvenience statements don't cut it. If you mess up, you need to own it, explain what happened, and crucially, outline specific, measurable actions you're taking to fix it with timelines.
Like that KFC example.
Exactly. The FCK campaign, when they ran out of chicken in the UK, it worked brilliantly because it wasn't just a clever, self-deprecating apology. It combined that humor with real transparency about the logistics failure and clear communication about how they were fixing the supply chain. That honesty disarmed people.
Okay, so be fast, be honest. And that honest message needs to land right. Which brings us to hyper-personalization. You said the generic message is dead. But isn't tailoring everything incredibly resource-intensive?
It is, but the tech helps manage that intensity.
Ah.
We circle back to data analytics here, but focused on the audience. We're moving beyond broad segments like millennials or small business owners. Data platforms now let you slice audiences into tiny microgroups based on their actual online behavior, their content preferences, their specific pain points.
Microgroups.
Yeah. And this lets PR teams craft messaging that's incredibly tailored, adjusting the technical depth, the key benefit, the call to action for each specific little group.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like a tech company launching a new product. They might send a press release focused purely on high-level ROI and strategic advantage to the C-suite targets. But for the IT directors, they get a different release, maybe a detailed guide, focusing on implementation, security features, technical specs, same product, totally different angle.
And does this actually work? Is the effort worth it?
The data overwhelmingly says yes. Some sources suggest personalized PR content can generate engagement rates up to 6 times higher than generic one-size-fits-all communication.
6 times!
Yeah, that kind of difference makes the investment in personalization platforms and strategy pretty compelling. It pays off.
Okay, that's a strong case. But if we're creating all these different messages for all these microgroups, let's talk integrated storytelling, trend 5. How do you stop the overall brand story from fragmenting into a million pieces across different platforms?
That's the art of it. The core message, the central brand narrative, has to stay absolutely consistent, rock solid. But the format and the angle need to be diversified and tailored for each platform's culture. What works on LinkedIn? Maybe a serious data-heavy post would die on Instagram or TikTok.
So same story, different outfits.
Kind of, yeah. It's about having a content diversification strategy. You repurpose relentlessly. That long podcast interview, slice it into short, punchy video clips for YouTube Shorts or TikTok. That detailed case study, turn it into an engaging visual carousel for LinkedIn.
So the audience bumps into the same core ideas, but packaged perfectly for wherever they happen to be online.
Exactly. It feels native to the platform, not just copied and pasted. That maintains cohesion while maximizing relevance.
Speaking of relevance and targeting, let's talk about influence. Trend 6 highlights a shift away from massive celebrities. Why are micro-influencers, the ones with maybe 10,000 to 100,000 followers, suddenly seen as more valuable?
It boils down to authenticity and engagement. Mega celebrities have huge reach, sure, but their audiences are broad and often not deeply engaged with every sponsored post. Micro-influencers, on the other hand, usually operate within a specific niche, like local food, sustainable fashion, a particular software type. They've built genuine relationships and trust within that community.
So their recommendations carry more weight.
Exactly. Their followers trust their opinion in that specific area. And crucially, their engagement rates, likes, comments, shares, are often way higher, sometimes 10, maybe even 20 times higher than the big names. It's quality over sheer quantity.
And this connects to using niche platforms too, not just Instagram or TikTok.
Right. PR pros are getting smarter about finding those highly engaged communities. Think specialized Substack newsletters for thought leadership in a specific industry, or active Discord servers for passionate hobbyists or tech users. Direct access, high trust, you're going deep, not just wide.
That depth makes sense. And it feels like that focus on niche communities links directly to geography too, right? Trend 8, if you're targeting digitally, how do you make sure your message works in different regions?
Yeah, localization is key. And it's way more than just translating the words. You have to adapt the whole narrative, the humor, the cultural references, the values you emphasize. They all need to resonate locally.
So a campaign that kills it in London might just fall completely flat in, say, rural Scotland if it's not adapted.
Precisely. What's funny or relevant in one place can be confusing or even offensive in another. Data analytics can help identify some regional sensitivities by looking at local media trends or search behavior. But this is also where local micro-influencers become invaluable. Even someone with just, say, 5,000 followers, but who is deeply respected in a specific town or region. They understand the local dialect, the inside jokes, the cultural context that a national campaign almost always misses.
Digital boots on the ground, essentially.
Exactly. You need that local flavor for true connection.
Okay, connecting is great, but we also need to defend the brand. Let's tackle Trend 7, combating misinformation and deepfakes. This feels like the nightmare scenario. How fast can these destroy reputation?
Hours. Sometimes faster. A convincing deepfake video or a viral piece of misinformation can undo years of brand building overnight. It's probably the single biggest digital threat right now.
So what's the defense? Is there one?
It has to be a multi-layered, proactive strategy. You can't wait until you're targeted. First, establish clear, verified communication channels. Make sure your audience knows where to go for the official word directly from you.
Like a dedicated section on the website or verified social accounts?
Yes. Second, build relationships with fact-checking organizations before you need them. When misinformation strikes, you don't want to be scrambling to find contacts. You want to be able to amplify corrections quickly through trusted third parties.
And technically, what can be done?
Digital watermarking or other authentication methods for official video and images are becoming more important. And again, internal preparedness is key. Pre-approved statement templates, specifically for disinformation or deepfake scenarios. Designated spokespeople trained on how to identify and respond to this specific threat. Speed and clarity are absolutely vital.
Okay, so we're doing all this complex work, personalization, crisis response, fighting fakes. How do we measure if it's actually working? Trend 9 talks about moving beyond old metrics. AVE is finally dead. Please tell me AVE is dead.
Huh? Yes, advertising value equivalency. It's, thankfully, finally being recognized as the flawed vanity metric it always was. It told you nothing about actual impact.
Good riddance. So what's replaced it? What's the new gold standard?
Engagement rates are huge now. We're talking social shares, comments, website click-throughs from PR coverage, time spent on content pages that originated from a PR push, video completion rates.
Metrics that show people actually did something, not just saw something.
Exactly. Did the message resonate enough to provoke an action? That's what matters. But the really big shift, I think, is linking PR directly to bottom-line business results. Using tools like Google Analytics or marketing automation platforms like HubSpot, you can now track the entire user journey. See how many people who read that article, then visited the website, downloaded a white paper, requested a demo, or even made a purchase.
So PR can actually demonstrate tangible ROI, connect efforts to leads and sales.
Yes. You can start calculating the cost per lead generated by PR compared to other marketing channels. It finally gives PR a solid financial argument for its value, silencing those old criticisms about it being too fluffy to measure.
That's powerful. Okay, this all sounds incredibly sophisticated. Which brings us to the final crucial trend, ethical leadership. Trend 10. Is this the foundation everything else rests on?
It absolutely has to be. Particularly with the rise of AI, transparency is simply non-negotiable in 2025.
How so? What does ethical leadership look like in this context?
Well, a key part is transparency about AI use. Leading companies think Unilever, IBM, folks like that are already setting standards. They're requiring their teams to actually label AI-assisted content.
Label it? Why?
It's about maintaining trust and managing risk. If an AI tool makes a mistake or generates something biased, which can happen, the brand is better protected if it's been upfront about using AI. It shows you're not trying to pass off machine output as purely human insight. It's also about building audience value. People appreciate knowing how messages are crafted. Beyond labeling, it means having clear disclosure policies, regular ethics training for your teams, and transparent protocols for correcting errors quickly when they happen.
So, honesty about your methods enhances the tech.
Precisely. It shows you're using these powerful tools responsibly. Ethical safeguards aren't a barrier to innovation. They actually enable it by maintaining the trust you need for any of these strategies to work long-term.
Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, that was a really comprehensive deep dive. It seems the future of PR demands this dual commitment, doesn't it? It really does. You have to fully embrace the technological possibilities, the AI monitoring, the predictive analytics, the hyper-personalization. You can't afford not to. But at the same time, you have to anchor all that tech in really strong ethical principles, authenticity, transparency, that radical honesty we talked about. Tech without trust is useless.
So the message for you, the listener, is that AI isn't here to replace your critical thinking or your creativity. It's an assistant. A powerful one, yes, but one that should enhance your strategic abilities and free you up for deeper human connection.
That's the ideal. Yeah. The most successful professionals will be the ones who master that blend of digital innovation and genuine ethical engagement.
All right, so here's a final thought for you to chew on this week, based on everything we discussed. How can you start practicing this dual commitment right now? Maybe it's taking a small step, like experimenting with a hyper-personalized mini campaign for one specific micro niche you know well. Or perhaps it's something foundational, like sitting down with your team to draft a clear, simple ethical disclosure policy for any AI-generated content you produce. That combination, trying the new tech while reinforcing the ethical ground rules, seems like the essential next step to future-proof your work and your brand. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.